mentioned the Shalos Tshuva Shevet Alevi, Chelik Tes, Siman Hey in Arachayim. One shaila is what happens if a person only comes across, he has to daven, and the only pair of tefillin that he found, and he's traveling or in a show, his pastel tefillin. That's the only tefillin. Should he put it on? So he should. In other words, so to the concept of putting on tefillin shouldn't pass over one day, or it's pastel. What's the point of putting it on? That's one question. And the second question he asks, what happens if a person only manages to find one or buy one? Is there a preference? Which one they should buy? Shoyad or Shorush? Now, what are you going to say? Which one should you buy? We all know that the Shoyad has a greater Kedusha. No, does that make that the only one? So let me answer. These are two different shilas. So he brings that in Sefer Nefesh Chaya is the one that asks, if you don't have, if you only have pastel tefillin, I was just thinking about it because I have upstairs somebody gave me a small pair of tefillin it looks from the Holocaust time. I don't know, I can't believe it's kosher. But imagine I'm driving a car and that's the only tefillin I have. I mean, it could happen. A person's gonna. So should he put it on or not? Where do we find a similar halacha? In Hilchas Lulav in Simon Tov Reish Mem Tes, it says if you only have a pastel lulav, that's the only one you have. You should shake it. Shalei tishtakach. You shouldn't forget. You shouldn't let a day go by. Now, is that because lulav is a one-time thing? It's only a short period of time we become a lulav, or it applies to every other mitzvah. So he says that in Shalos Tshuva Shevet Alevi Chelik Gimel Siman Beis, he brought from other sources that a case where somebody has tefillin. And it's not, the tefillin has to be exactly four-cornered. It has to be square. And even if it's a little rounded, it's halacha l'maisha misinai. It must be very square. That's something you have to check very often because we bump our heads into the walls or whatever, and it has to be halacha l'maisha misinai. If a person doesn't have perfectly square tefillin, the tefillin are puzzle. If that's the only one he has, he didn't go yet to the bottom macha to correct it. Should he put it on or not? So in lulav it says, you do with the non-kosher lulav. So should you also do by tefillin? And the answer he gave, he says, if you're going to allow this to happen, adarabah, tishtakach teres tefillin kashrus misrael. If you're going to let people say, okay, for now wear this, for now then it's going to just delay the whole kosher. You're not going to rush. You're not going to rush to find yourself a good pair of tefillin. We find that by lulav and esrog, that by lulav and esrog is different because it's a very short period of time where you're doing it. But this is something that you're doing every single day of the year. Hope for the best that you're going to find a good pair of tefillin. But if you don't have a good pair of tefillin, Rav Shmuel Vazna paskin not to put on the tefillin, not to put on the pastel one. Now, how about the fact if you only have enough money to buy one, should you invest in buying the shorush first or the shoyad? So he brings from different sources, different svaras. Some say that you should buy the shoyad first. Because in the Torah, it says, the Torah made the din kedima to the tefillin shoyad. Right? From the other hand, we all know that the tefillin shorush has a much greater kedusha. And the other hand, the tefillin shorush also has another pasuk. Why do we put on the tefillin shorush second? Because it says, why do we take off the tefillin shorush first? You ever thought about that? You put it on second. Why do we take it off first? Because the Torah says, Vahoyu, that the tefillin shorush should be on your head. And it says plural. You only put on the tefillin shorush when it's plural, when it's another one there. Mm. So if you're going to take the shoyad first off, it will be the lone man standing. And that tefillin shorush is only there when you have it's after the tefillin shoyad. So
what's the sod of that?
Huh?
What's like the
because it says what's the Kabbalistic sod? Yeah. No, it's a the tzitz, right? The tzitz.
Oh,
the tzitz was different.
They couldn't wear tefillin because it was under the clothes.
Right.
Separation.
So he doesn't like that. He says if a person only ends up with one part, not the question if he could only buy one. If a person realizes I only have a shoyad, I only have a shoresh, the halacha is put on whatever you have. Even though it's the sharash, the halacha that the sharash is only on your head when there's two, it's not an ikkuv. Then he says somebody else gave another reason. Don't put on the sharash, because we know you spell out Hashem's name when you wear the tefillin. So some people do the shin here, the dalet here, the yud is around the bias. He says, where do you do the shin? Where is the shin? The Hashem's name in the sharash? It's on the bias. There's the shin, and the dalet is here. And where's the yud? The yud is on your hand. So he says, therefore, I don't want to put on just the head, because then you're going to be having just two letters, and those two letters don't spell out a good word. They spell out shade. So he says, maybe that's a sakana. He says, whoever gave that reason, excuse me, it's a nice drash, but that's not a reason why you should overlook the mitzvah of the shorash. And he's leaning that if you have a choice of which one to wear, you wear the shorash first. Okay, two short halachas.